Hello, everyone, and welcome to Impact AI. I'm your host, John Hodges. Today, we're touching on how small businesses often lack the resources of big enterprises, but AI is now making it possible for even lean teams to make smart, data-backed decisions. I'm honored to have with us today Anu Shukla, a serial entrepreneur who helped build Rubik, MyBuys, Rewards Pay, and now co-leads Botco.ai. With decades of experience in marketing technology and product strategy, and more recently, generative AI for enterprise customer engagement, she's proven a track record of helping organizations use technology not just to keep up, but to lead. Anu, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. Can you start by telling our audience your journey, what drew you into MarTech, the evolution into AI, and like what compels you now to focus on empowering decision makers?
Absolutely. So what got me started on this journey was really my own problem. That's kind of a typical thing that entrepreneurs will tell you.
Okay.
I was a VP of marketing in a B2B environment for high-tech software companies, basically. And I had sort of in enterprise, B2B, I had one of the biggest discretionary budgets in the organization, but I also had a very tiny staff. So we kept it low on headcount, but high on budget so that we could spend the money to get, business opportunity, branding, etc., for our enterprise sales force. And in order to prove that I needed that budget and that budget was effective, I had to devise my own system of, ROI. So, I spent money on this trade show. I spent $100,000. What did I get out of it? How many leads did I get? And then I also didn't like the fact that we went to trade shows, we got a bunch of leads, and then it was over. Maybe we got a deal or two out of it. And I didn't know if it came directly from the trade show or not. And then we went to the next trade show and we spent another $50,000 or something. And we went and did seminars, and the in-person seminars in those days. So basically, I had to come through with a system where I put together a database. I also said, no, no, the leads that we got from this trade show, let's keep it in this sort of networking companies database. And then anytime we have sort of any appropriate content for networking companies, let's send it to them. And I call that continuous relationship marketing, which is now known as drip marketing, right? And
Right.
this was in 1992 or something. So it was like long ago. It was just as the internet was even coming out at that time. Okay. So that's how early it was. And it's so surprising that now these things are very common. And in those days, I really had to work hard to convince people, convince future investors from Sand Hill Road that marketing really was a thing and could be automated.
Right.
Uh, and so that's how I really began this journey by using data to prove that I really deserved the budget I was getting by doing sort of a closed loop marketing, showing the ROI of my budget dollars in terms of number of leads and number of warmer leads, number of MQLs, and number of deals. All the way we call it closed loop marketing. And so that made me go out and pitch this product to my peers. And that's how the company Rubrik was born. Because my peers, other marketers said, oh, yes, if you came up with this, we would buy it. And so I used that data point to go convince investors to give me money. And then that began my journey in entrepreneurship. And that company actually, Rubrik, I think I only raised $13 million, in its 18-month journey, you know, um, and was able to sell it for about 400 million within 18 months. So that was a good success. I
Yeah,
think
not bad.
that got me, started on this journey.
Right. Right. Well, that was a good start for sure. So among all your ventures, Rubrik, My Buys, Rewards Pay, Botco,
And
was there?
Tantra. Capjoy is my most recent success of my team and myself, and I really love that company too and that story.
Oh, okay. Well, was there a project that fundamentally changed how you viewed the power of AI and in decision making?
Well, it really started with conversational marketing. So when we did Rubrik, the first company I ever did was a marketing automation company, and we were able to do things like campaigns, targeted campaigns from a database, and do multiple emails, drip marketing, but it was all one way. And we were like, wouldn't it be nice if people could tell us what they wanted out of this?
Hmm,
And we're like, it was, like can we truly get to one marketing? And we realized in the 90s that there was some technology missing to have a true conversation. And with the advent of chat and messaging, we really, that was the impetus behind Botco. We thought, wouldn't it be nice if these channels are there now, two-way channels for messaging? How can we harness this power to have that conversational piece that we were missing 20 years ago?
right,
And then we said, well, I don't think this can be done without some sort of AI because, enterprise is not going to sit there, doing live messaging with everyone,
right.
at least not in the B2B context that we were used to. And so that's how we decided to harness the power of AI to carry on autonomous, automated conversations on a one-to-one basis intelligently with prospects. So, for example, one of our early customers was in the in a service-based business, actually wellness business with multiple hundreds of locations, multi-location company, and they during the pandemic faced a immediate issue where people were canceling their subscriptions because they were thinking, I'm in a pandemic, I'm never going to go to this spa.
Right.
Why should I pay the fees? And so they were coming to the subscription piece and basically canceling. And so they used our technology, a conversational AI technology chatbot to basically tell the person who was canceling that they had an option. They had an option to pause. They're like, well, why do you want to cancel? What are the reason? Okay, well, do you know you can pause this? You won't be charged. And if you come back later, if you cancel, it'll cost you this much to sign up. But if you pause it, it won't cost you anything.
Hmm,
And is there any limit to pausing it? No. So they were able to take a spate of cancellations and hold them at bay by having this conversational AI technology on the cancellation page. So, and then we grew our footprint from there to wayfinding, giving information about products, about actually analyzing what people were talking about. So we could tell them, for example, that, indeed, you know, people's most asked for question is whether these products are going to aggravate their acne. And that company actually came up with some acne products and incorporated it into their messaging. And they would have never known this had they not analyzed these hundreds of thousands of conversations and what people were really concerned about in the now.
wow, that's very interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, what has been the hardest leadership challenge for you as you've scaled, from startups to enterprises, especially in making the technology decisions, like, with the uncertainty of the fast pace of technology and the rapid changes, like with AI today. I mean, it just seems like every 2 weeks something's coming out
Mhm.
new and
Yeah.
improvements.
Also, our job is to actually help our customers future-proof their strategies against these rapid changes.
Okay.
So, so what we have to do is we have to keep up very much on the cutting edge of developments and incorporate them as soon as possible and not too early. where our customers are paying the cost for this learning curve. So, for example, we started out with straight, text, messaging, AI conversations carried on, by text. Then we incorporated SMS because not everybody has a chat product that they use, especially in the enterprise. We don't have products that are used by everybody universally that they check all the time. And so, how do you go from email to messaging in an enterprise context where you have to manage and access all this stuff? So, we supported multiple messaging channels. So you could use Messenger if you like that, but not many enterprises use Messenger. So it was really web chat that mostly people were using. And so then we realized that really the universal reach and attention is really on the phone. And most often people just use SMS. And so we had to put our AI technologies around SMS and let enterprises just get a phone number and text somebody in a short code, whatever. And but instead of being a dumb one-way text, it would actually give you an option to reply, free text, and the AI sort of natural language got it and responded back to them. So we put those entire conversational flows on SMS, intelligent conversational flows. And then we realized that people really would like to use voice. And so now we've incorporated voice so that you can just talk to the phone and it'll respond to you. And you can do it while you're driving. I mean, hopefully not divert your attention too much, but it's better than, I mean, you'll never be able to text. So it's better to just talk if it's something that you want to get done. And also now we're incorporating video. So as the AI capabilities advance and they become more stable and more reliable, we incorporate the core technologies into our no-code platform and make it available to our customers and make it available all the way from web chat to SMS to voice, now spoken voice and video.
Wow.
So you
Yeah,
actually have an avatar that's talking to you and you're talking back to it.
that's cool. And rapidly changing.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's true.
So we'll focus now on some more AI aligned questions. What for a small business, what are the most accessible AI tools or methods small business owners should adopt to start making more data-driven decisions right away? That's within their budget.
Well, for small businesses, I think that what we provide as Botco is the ability to take all the information that they have and make it accessible to people without searching through a website or searching through a manual.
Hmm.
And so this has two basic ROI components to it. One is you are getting more revenue. So if you're answering people's questions and you're moving them down the funnel, then they're basically, making performing on a CTA, which might be to set up a meeting, set up a tour, or get a quote, or whatever that might be. So you want to qualify your prospects and get them down the funnel where you are spending more time with more qualified prospects and thereby converting more revenue. And so you have a revenue impact of this AI technology. The AI technology helped you understand your customers better and move them through your funnel to result in conversions. That's one big ROI that we focus on. The second is offloading costs. So once you sell a product or even before that, you have people that are available only certain times of the day and the week that will, support your customers, whether it's support or answering questions or giving information or qualifying them. And so if you offload that to an AI agent on our agentic platform, then you are reducing the cost of people, or people are doing more high value stuff. 80% of the calls that come in to companies are basically repetitive and they're the same. And that can be easily handled by an AI agent. And so we have a technology that allows you to handle 80% of these calls through the AI agent. And when they reach an edge case, like they can't respond, they can easily transfer it to a human being and the human being gets the full conversation that has occurred and takes off from there. And also, since it's based on text, it could also be based on a call. So you can actually transfer it to a call where a human being will pick up the phone and say, okay, let me help you further. So it leads to better satisfaction from customers, also reduce costs. So those are the things that I would recommend small businesses look at, finding out. Many of our small, big enterprise clients have small locations, the franchisees or whoever that are small businesses located all over the country. And for those people, it's important to be able to easily reschedule, make appointments, reschedule appointments, um, tell people how to get there, remind them, tell them where there's parking, tell them what services are offered in that location, and let them know if their particular person that was going to work on their massage or their hair if it's a wellness business is available or not, or things like that. Or if they're in, or even upsell them, like, okay, hey, I noticed that you are in here for a Swedish massage, but you can get a hair or a facial, for just $20 more. Would you like to sign up for that? So you can even upsell them. So these are all very important to small businesses to provide the service as a big company would offer while maintaining or keeping their costs low. And I think AI being the advances in AI and the ability to harness them has made this possible. And finally, just having insights into what customers really care about, that is really important. As I mentioned, this one huge company actually did pick up using our technology, that people were very concerned about their products interacting with, say, or producing acne or aggravating acne, and then coming out with messaging and also a line of products. They actually aligned with Proactive, right? And offered Proactive products to say, here is something for acne, and these are our techniques that don't aggravate your acne. And so that became a message that they picked up directly from analyzing or getting insights from the data produced by the conversation. So we have a dashboard that actually says, here are the conversations that took place. Here are the ones that where there was a fallback, like we didn't have an answer. So we have to educate the agent more. We have to do
Right.
more training of this agent in this area. And then here are what people really talked about. This was 90% of the conversations were about X. And here are, were they positive or negative? What was the sentiment in these conversations?
Hmm.
So we do a sentiment analysis. So it's really quite data driven, and the customers can then choose to make, changes to their products or to their messaging or to their service based on what actual customers are telling them.
Wow, that is excellent.
Yeah.
So, sentiment analysis. Wow,
Correct.
I didn't know that that existed.
Yes, yeah, each one we can see, this person is neutral, positive, or there's a lot of negative.
Okay, excellent. So, speaking of data, so given that small businesses sometimes struggle with limited data, how can they use AI, which you've kind of explained it already, but even when data is sometimes noisy or incomplete or small in scale, um, how can AI improve that for smaller businesses?
Well, I think that it's all about analyzing the data that you do have, and so and doing it automatically. Most even small businesses will engage in a lot of conversations, so it's not possible for you to read every single conversation, even that's been successfully resolved, and really know what the pattern is. So it's really important, if you're over a dozen or so or 20 conversations, that you have a technology that can easily summarize this for you. Some sort of a dashboard that's got all the bells and whistles and lights going on and off based on here's your most popular product, this is the most popular topic, the conversations that happened, you had 100 conversations and 90 of them were negative, and why? And so things like that. So that's what small business can do is scale themselves by using technology to offload. So they can work on new product development, on delivering the service, versus and knowing where customers are going next, what they really want next. And AI is a very good technology implemented correctly, to give them that insight into their data.
Sure, sure. Um, so what role does explainability or transparency play in small businesses trusting and using AI outputs in their decisions?
Well, I think that AI also has a tendency to be a little sycophantic, as we know, and also to hallucinate. And it's a pleaser technology, LLMs are, right?
Hmm, okay.
So if the customer is saying things that are wrong, it'll tend to agree with you. And the AI will agree with you. And also, it will hallucinate. It'll just make stuff up if it doesn't know it, right? And so enterprises can't afford that, whether it's small companies or big companies or medium-sized companies. They can't afford to be making up stuff.
True.
So in our technology, I know many people have different solutions. So in our technology, we have something called a guardrail. So we can put in a lot of guardrails that starts from how we train the AI. So how we train the data, train the chatbot or the agent on what type of information. And then all the guardrails that we can put in place when they actually start to converse and give out information. So you can say this from here, but not this. Don't do this or recognize this. I mean, in a big environment, we've even been able to take a new consumer drug that's being introduced and let the AI understand how to pick up an adverse event and what to do with it.
Wow.
And this is for a technology that doesn't, it's a new product. So not all adverse events are known. So you can say, yeah, if they say rash, if they say headache, if they say something that's an adverse event, and this is the message you should give. This is the workflow you should take them on to report it.
Hmm.
But sometimes it could be something that's never been heard before, like I got a fever or I got a swelling that's not been associated with this drug. So still the AI can be trained. We did train it to understand it and know what to do with it. Or if you pick up, I know this has been a subject of some discussion that, and I think OpenAI is getting sued for this because the AI was trying to please this teenager in California and basically helped him figure out how to commit suicide. And that is what I mean is these big LLMs are so smart, but they don't have any guardrails. And so we work with behavioral health organizations. We cannot have that. And so we basically have, guardrails and training to have our chatbots recognize any troubling signs and provide the information like call this suicide hotline or launch a different workflow. So it's the serious stuff, really.
Sure.
And it has to be harnessed in the right way, or it can actually end up harming somebody.
Wow. That's quite a good point. Um, well, how about do you have any fun stories where maybe an example where your Botco or whomever um, where AI powered insight changed the trajectory of a small business just completely?
I mean, there are so many, right? So we work with a lot of senior living organizations where, believe it or not, the children of seniors are looking for stuff for mom, right? Or what is good for mom. And so what we figured out is most often the way the people decide what's a good senior living organization where they should be go for assisted living, memory care, or just simply a senior living, assisted living facility is based on whether they feel they belong or not. And the number one question that they have is it's really the floor plan, right? And so we were able to do that for some very small organizations that offer assisted living and increase their census. They call the occupancy rate census quite a bit. And so changing the trajectory of their business to being, pretty empty after COVID to being, pretty full because every move-in was worth a lot of money. The example that I gave you of this organization that discovered that they were missing the boat on set of products completely by not addressing, sort of skincare of a particular type. So they came out with a line of products, a partnership that changed it changed the outcomes for a lot of the local, local small, retail outlets. So that was an important one as well. And, the other very satisfying field we work is in the field of behavioral health. So we work a lot in on the autism spectrum and help the AI do some assessment. So you have to do an assessment of a child um, and then provide services tailored based on where they fall in the assessment.
Hmm.
And so if the assessors are not available, this prolongs the time it takes to provide the care that they need. And so we've been able to use the AI to do the assessments faster so that the experts can just look at the assessment and say yes, and so provide them care sooner, get them into the right programs sooner. And then most satisfying right now, we're working with some very big pharma and other organizations where we are helping them recruit patients for clinical trials or help doctors find the right clinical trial for their patient based on markers and a bunch of other facts and get them into it quickly. And that thereby we hope save lives.
Interesting. Have you seen any cases where decision makers maybe have an over reliance on AI, or do y'all do your best just to ensure that human judgment is always involved?
Yeah, there's this concept of human in the loop. And as I mentioned to you, 80% of service calls are usually for any organization are pretty repetitive, but you do have the 20% or, edge cases or 5% really edge cases. So you really have to set up a hierarchy where, you can get a human in the loop as needed and at the right time. It still saves them time because you're not answering 80% of the questions again and again.
Right.
But you do have to provide the ability for them to go to the next level, which we always build into. We recommend to our customers that they build into the chat experience that they expose to their customers. And then in terms of reachability, to reach customers where they are, so providing this SMS, providing voice and video interaction is really, really important. And I believe we are definitely, at the cutting edge of that.
I agree, 100%. So, all right, well, this has been wonderful. So we'll wrap it up with one more question. As
Sure.
we move forward, what emerging trends are you seeing in AI? And it could be with generative models or agent-based systems or, whatever. Do you believe, so what are some emerging trends that you're seeing, and what do you believe will be most beneficial to the smaller businesses?
Yes, so that's a good news for small businesses. It's not the large LLMs, but the small LLMs. So now they're very vertically focused, smaller LLMs that are providing that they don't require that much training and that much data and that much compute power that are much better suited, to smaller businesses because they are very focused. So you don't have to go to this vast expanse, and you can instead the SLLMs they're called, the SLMs. The
Okay.
SLMs are coming up that are very targeted, that are very useful and more affordable. And so I think those spell some promise for small businesses. Agentic platforms that are able to integrate with your existing systems and create new workflows. And those are very important and very useful because when you have a process that's completely different and it's creating another data island, is of no use to anybody. So having these workflows that we've had from the very beginning, but that's what agents are all about. They're not only trained AI agents, but they also can autonomously accomplish tasks. So this agent workflow and then multi-agent coordination where agents are talking to other agents, but you have to have a technology to coordinate between all of them. That is really important as well. And then of course, getting rid of bias and getting rid of like hallucinations, those things are also advancing. And additional channels and additional mechanisms such as voice and video. So I see those trends continuing.
Excellent. So, anything new on the horizon for Botco?
Oh, everything I told you is new. We're working
Oh,
on all these new projects. Voice is new for us, video is new for us. And then our fine-tuned models that we work on, that we use for our clients, that's new, that's advancing. We're constantly integrating to new EMRs,
wow.
and other systems. So all of these are make for exciting times for us and others as well.
Wow. That's incredible. Okay. Well, Anu, this has been an insightful conversation. What comes through loud and clear for me anyway, that AI is no longer just a supporting tool. It's enabling business leaders to make faster and smarter and more confident decisions. Um, well, for our listeners, we give a big thanks to Anu Shukla for sharing
Thank
her vision.
you.
And you, for those listening, where can they find you for more information?
Oh, Botco.ai, that's our website. And we have an info button there. I'm also on LinkedIn if you wanted to reach out to me for, anything that I can help with. But otherwise, we even have a button for you to schedule a call there to find out more or just email us. So you can reach me, you can reach Botco, you can reach others at the company for anything we can help you with.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And as you can see, it's not about having the biggest budget. It's about having the smartest tools. So thank you again for tuning in and have a nice day.
Thank you. Take care.